you can't have a God who is different than you because you are God. And just as Christ chose to come in human form, God chose to come to earth in your form. When you were born, there was a spark of God that said, I want to be in this form, in this expression. So you are a spark of God right now, living in human form. This is the human form you've chosen to be in right now. And you identify more with your human form than you identify with your divine form. So you're not used to being God in human form. We're just on earth practicing. We are practicing to be God in human form. There's 8 billion people on the planet. That's 8 billion experiments of God practicing to be in human form. Please write this in your journal. I'm here on earth practicing to be God in human form. Your position in life and society and on the globe is God's position. God is in the same position you are in. So think about your position in life right now, who you are, where you live, what you do every day. How do you feel about your life? Go ahead and write that down in your journal. Yeah, just like quick survey questions. So for example, Dora would write, I'm a 50-year-old Latina insurance agent living in a condo with 2 chihuahuas, and I feel good about my life. Okay, so look at what you wrote in your journal. That is God's position right now. Go ahead and cross out I am, and in its place write God is practicing being. So in this example, God's practicing being a 50-year-old Latin insurance agent living in a condo with 2 chihuahuas. And you know what? God feels pretty good about his life, her life. Whatever is in your power to do, it is within God's power to do. And there's nothing that is not within your power to do. Humans have flown to the moon and even destroyed our planet's natural resources. And we're just little itty bitty people, but we have the power to create and destroy a planet, just like God. It's a fact that we have this immense ability within us. We just have to believe that fact. God is limited by our choices, but both you and God are not limited. God is limited by your human form, but both you and God are limitless in your divinity. Whatever you ask God to do, you're also asking yourself to do, because God will do it, but he's going to do it through you. And whatever you expect God to do is also what you're expecting yourself to do, because God will do it through you. Whatever is in God's power to do is within your power to do. Because God's power, in order to manifest in this world, must come through you. Please write that in your journal. In order for God's power to manifest in this world, it must come through me. If it's not within your power to do something, it's not within God's power to do it. He has chosen to come to earth in a human form. That form is you. So here on earth, God identifies as you. Please write this in your journal. God identifies as me. If you're 79 years old, guess what? God identifies as a 79-year-old. If you're Japanese, guess what? God identifies as a Japanese person. If your son is autistic, God identifies as a parent of an autistic child. God is not thinking he is different than you. God is very clear. He is you. So when you ask a question to God and you hear that incredibly serene voice full of hallelujahs and song, and you know that this cannot possibly be your voice because it is too beautiful and too holy, that is your voice. You attribute it to God, but it's actually your own voice. Your voice sounds exactly like God's voice. You are more than you think you're capable of, and you're afraid to believe. Somewhere in the history of civilization, over the centuries of oppression, living under a king, you were taught over and over eras and epochs, that you were not capable. But now you know. Now you know that you are capable of whatever God is capable of. The best and the worst. We have seen ourselves as humanity do that. So we know we're capable of what God is capable of. And now you can accept, in this very rare moment of human consciousness, that you and God are total and complete equals. And it's impossible to be anything else, because God has chosen to come to earth in human form as an experiment, and you are one of those experiments. You're God experimenting being in human form. And God woke up as a newborn, as you in your body, and marveled at it. And God grew up in this form as you in your body. And now God's looking out in the world and calling for help. And the angels are looking at God and see God in human form. And they're like, you called? And he says, help me. And they laugh at him because he's God. He's just in human form. But because he's got the human brain that was programmed by society century after century telling him he's not God, he thinks he's somehow powerless in human form. And he hasn't learned how to use his body yet, or his human heart to feel both love and betrayal. His human mind, it's kind of limited by what it's taught, and his human soul, which is both God the unlimited and human the limited. And when the Bible says that man is more powerful than the angels, this is what it means. The angels are laughing at us because we want their help, and they love us so much. They're more than willing to help us. Of course, anything. We're God. Why wouldn't they?